Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Caitlin.
Kayla. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to this roundtable session.
Thank you.
My goodness, we're just about done with the first week of the Festival of Storytellers. And wow, it has been a jam-packed week and a half, actually. And wow. We've got a full roundtable today. And I'm really excited. We're going to be talking about identifying and avoiding author scams.
Awesome.
All right.
Topic.
I think it's definitely going to be a really interesting topic, and I can see we have so many people here to talk about it. But before we deep dive into our topic, let's quickly introduce all of our authors and their books. So if we start with Miss Helen, go ahead. Take it away.
Hello. I'm honored to be here with you today. And I am a storyteller writer. I travel 3 months out of a year all across the country, talking to people, learning and listening to them talk about things that occur in their lives. And always maintaining confidentiality. I take those stories and create other stories out of them. Um, I would like to say that this is the last book that I have written is called The Lessons of the Mother Prophet. And the Lessons of the Mother Prophet always teaches you how to live and what might happen if you do not pay attention to the lessons of life around you. And the book that I wrote, Miss Anna, The Tears from the Healing Tree, The Two Worlds of Miss Anna, the Promise Keeper, took me 33 years.
Wow.
It was 3 generations that I had to, and it comes from aliens who came to Earth, who needed Earth being to help them because their world was being destroyed, and how they maintained themselves here through the life of a young girl. And another book, I think my most serious book is The Unexpected. It's about a young white college girl who is takes a trip.
Mute the phone.
Can I please ask everyone else on the stage to please mute?
Okay. Am I from my phone? Okay. But
Keep going, Helen.
okay. I am a member of the African American Writers Alliance in Seattle, based out of Seattle, Washington. We have been an organization since 1991, and we're always writing about things that matter to us. Most of the things is about things that matter to us from our history, and but whatever it is that a writer wants to write about, they have a space that's set aside for them, and it's international, and it is at the place where any author that is of African descent can come and make their writings known, because the only person can tell your story is you. Someone
Correct.
else can hear it, but you have to tell your own story through your own lenses, because they are who and what you are. And you have to always remember that, how important it is to be able to not let anyone shut you down or tell you that what you're writing is not important. I use magical realism, science fiction. I write in many genres, but I also know that it's not me, it's that special creator who moves through me to give my readers the lessons that they need to learn. Because I don't make people comfortable all the time, but I will make them aware of life and how the creator wants it. So thank you. I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. And we'll move on to our next author, Marcelo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for Reader's Magnet for this opportunity. So, I am J. Marcelo Vaquero Alvarez, also known as BZ, because my name is 14 letters long, so BZ is normally what they call me. And I am the author of Authoritarianism and Propaganda: The Puppet Master Tools, and Walk and Proud: The Charlatan's Inconvenience, and they're both nonfiction thought-provoking historical recounts as far as what's been going on in the world, pretty much from the Bolshevik Revolution up to pretty much nowadays, and how we can destroy the veneer that authoritarians are actually putting into our lives right now. So the writings are, of course, very relevant because it is happening. It's been happening in real time, and again, it is a thought-provoking type of reading. So it is meant to wake up that critical thinking and pair it with intellectual honesty. Thank you so much for having us again.
Thank you, Marcelo. David, would you like to speak about your book?
Yes, actually, my name is David Witherspoon Stewart. I'm a Florida author. I've written 5 novels and a memoir. My latest novel is science fiction. It's called Angel of Mortality. And what I do in Angel of Mortality, there's a woman, she is Ukrainian, but she's actually operating in Kyrgyzstan. And she invents a machine that produces nanotechnology robots that have artificial intelligence. So they're almost like living organisms. And they cover the entire continents. And Raisa created these to be good, to basically help do things like combat climate change and ocean pollution and reforestation. But a evil guy, Stepan Pavlovich, he gets a hold of her machine, a copy of her machine, and he uses it for bad, and he uses it to kill people. And the reason is he wants to control the whole earth. He wants everybody to be loyal to him. So he uses it as a terrorist machine. And what Raisa has to do is protect her rights to the machine she created it for by combating Stepan's evil plot. And they end up finally down in the Caribbean in a fight between the two the true robotic organisms. And of course, hers finally wins, but it's a tremendous battle right out in the middle of the ocean. And she almost gets killed during that. So it not only talks about the technology of artificial intelligence, it also talks about robotics, and it talks about nanotechnology and neural networks and computers, quantum computing, and things like that, which are all new technologies that can be used for good or evil. Uh, I have written other books in the paranormal and the action genres, but I really like this one, and I encourage people to get it. It's available on, of course, Reader's Magnet and Barnes and Noble and Amazon, and on my website, which I invite you to visit. So thank you for watching, and I'm really enjoying this virtual conference.
Thank you, David. Already we have such a wide range of books. This is going to be really interesting. Wayne, would you like to speak about your book?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Wayne Drayton, and the name of my book is "The Two Sides of Being Single: A Biblical Perspective." Now, this book is for Christians who are single and those who are thinking about getting married. Basically, what my book does is takes two sides of being single. One side says you can be single and remain that way. The other side says, yes, I'm single, but I'm waiting for God to bless me with the right person. Well, you don't have to get married. Now, if you want to get married, then you wait for God to lead you to the right person. Now, if you're not a Christian, you wouldn't understand that. Most people who are single, who are not Christians, are desperate to find the right person. But when you are a Christian, you got the Spirit of God living in you, the Lord will lead you to the right person. However, if you want to remain single, you can do that as well too. It doesn't matter whether you're single or married. The key thing as a Christian to do is to put your faith and trust in God. And when you put your faith and trust in God, God said in his words that I will never leave you or forsake you, whether you're single or married. But in order to really understand this, you must be born again. You must accept Christ as Lord and Savior of your life. Because if you don't accept Christ and you're planning on finding somebody or even want to be single, you're not going to be very successful. So my book outlines, the first part of my book talks about being single. And when you are single as a Christian, you dedicate your life to serving God and doing his will. And you can do that being married as well too. But when you are a Christian and you want to find that right person, then you go to God. God will send that person to you. So the name of my book, once again, is The Two Sides of Being Single. I now offer a biblical perspective. So I use several scriptures in my book. That's why I say it's a biblical point of view. So if you're not a Christian, you probably wouldn't understand. But at the end of my book, for people who are non-Christian who happen to read my book, at the end of my book, I offer a prayer for salvation. Because it doesn't matter whether you're single or married. What matters is, where's your soul going to end up at? Is it going to end up in heaven or hell?
Mm-hmm.
And now, if the Bible says, except a man be born again, he can't enter the kingdom of heaven. So the best investment you can make is by accepting Christ as Lord and Savior of your life. Once you do that, then you can live a life of singleness or marriage. So that's basically what my book is about. It's about the two sides of being single, a biblical perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you. Reverend Michael, go ahead. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
I unmuted myself and then went back on again. I'm here now. This is my book, Lucius, A Soldier's Journey. It's basically about a Roman soldier back in the days when Rome was ruling the world. And he's conflicted. He's very conflicted. His father was a man who was a tremendous soldier. He won the imperial legate posthumously. He came from a long lineage of soldiers that served the likes of Julius Caesar, Scipio Africanus, the great Caesars of old. He had a great military lineage, but his father taught him some things that were definitely not very Roman. For example, his father hated slavery, would not have a slave in his house. His father would purchase slaves from the slave auction, but then he would purchase their freedom and give them the option of either working in his house or going free and finding their families if they so desired. And Lucius grew up and he learned these things from his father. He was very conflicted. He searched for truth. He knew truth wasn't in the Roman way of doing things. He considered the Roman way of doing things to be very oppressive. And he was reassigned to what is today Israel. And there he comes in contact with a rabbi and a doctor who introduce him to a man they call the teacher, who is Jesus Christ, and he comes to know Christ. But it's a very good book. You know, some people might think, well, it's just about the Bible story of the centurion servant being healed. But there's a little bit of everything in this book. There's battles in this book. There's romance, as two of Lucius's servants actually fall in love and get married. There's a brawl for you guys who like brawls, you guys who like a good mano. There's a brawl in this book. So there's something for everybody in this book, and I think you'd enjoy it. It's got some great lessons in it.
Thank you, Reverend Michael. Shall we go with Leroy? Sorry, I think Leroy, you're muted. There, perfect. There.
Good. Okay. American Insanity. And my book is very political. It talks about all the corruption and ineptness within our federal government. And I use my own experience. I spent 29 years as a senior manager within the federal government, the last 11 years in Washington, D.C., working with members of Congress and White House staff. I happen to have been with the Department of Veterans Affairs, so it was in regards to veterans issues and concerns, and trying to convince members of Congress to pass legislation in support of our veterans. And it was during those 11 years in DC that I really came to understand the real level of corruption within our federal government, within our politicians. And I write about that corruption. I go on to talk about the solutions that are available to us to resolve our problems. And I have several chapters because I talk about the corruption, and I have separate sections or chapters, if you will, covering each of the departments and agencies that have the most effect or impact on the citizens, and the individuals who are in senior leadership positions, who are, let's say, really messing up our country. And I talk about that because most of what I talk about, you don't hear in the mainstream news media, because the mainstream news media has become so politicized that they only report information based on their particular ideology, or if they do report it, they slant it to that ideology. And so I kind of write about the things that the news medias are failing to keep American citizens informed about. So that's my book. And I think you'll find it very interesting because you'll be surprised at the level of corruption and ineptness that really exists. And I can tell you, it's way beyond what you imagine or what you believe based on what you're hearing on the news or on your social media.
Wow. Thank you, Leroy. Thank you. Louis, go ahead.
Yes. My name is Luis Establer. I'm from Cuba, and I speak English as a second language. I write poetry in Spanish and English. Sometimes my Hispanic poems are a little better, but I studied poetry in college, so sometimes I don't do too bad in English. I like to write sonnets, and I like to write songs, and I like to write free verse. And the book that you have there, that book's no longer in print, so that's not the book that I'm going to talk about. The book that I want to talk about is this book here. Man, I don't know if you can see it. See, you can. The let's see if I can. It's it's 30, 31 failed poems from my sweet cherry. They are love poetry, but they are not just love poetry. They are love poetry that don't concentrate on beauty, but concentrate on the heart and on the goodness of the person. That sometimes say that true love get better with age, and that doesn't lose so much our beauty, because sometimes beauty disappear, and if you fall in love with somebody because of the beauty, sometimes the love doesn't last because that goes away. But if you fall in love with the person because of the heart, chances are that the love is going to endure, because the heart never gets old, but beauty goes away. It doesn't matter how pretty, or how young you are. Sooner or later, if you do long enough, you are going to get old, and you are going to have lines in your face. For those who are looking for poetry that is kind of simple, not too complicated, but simple but meaningful at the same time, and that pay attention to language and to diction, because sometimes one of the things that I notice, that sometimes people, when they write poetry, they want to divide it into stanzas, but they have a very hard trouble to see where they're going to break the line, but they don't know what they're doing, so they break the line any way they want, and that's not how a stanza should be written. You should be able to know when you're going to break the line. So the stanza is just not random. It's, it's planned. So that's what I do with my poetry. When I write poetry in a stanza, I try to be careful when I break the line to start a new one, so I don't break the line any which way I like to do it. I've been writing poetry for many years, but recently I started publishing poetry about 5 or 4 years ago. I have written poems that self-published poems. I mean, books of poems that are no longer in print. But this book here, uh, 31 fairy poems for my cherry. That's my recent one that you can find on Amazon.com. If you can understand the title because it's too long, you can just print my name, Luis A. Estable, and you see it there, and then you can find this book over here. It's a small book. It's only about 31 pages, but I think the poetry it's interesting, and it deserves to be given a try. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Louis. Lonnie, yes, go ahead. And I will just have a quick time update. We're actually already at 20 minutes, so if we could keep it just to about 5 to 10 sentences for you guys, so we can really get into the meat of the topic. Thank you.
All right. I'll be brief. Hi, everyone. My name is Lonnie Bray L. I'm the author of my main book is Moorish American Nationality Keys of the Moorish American Institute. It's number 17 and number 27 in the world today out of 680 something thousand books for administrative law, indigenous peoples, and court records procedures. My work deals mostly with Moorish history and Moorish culture and the social issue of nationality. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, Linda. Go ahead. You're muted, Linda. There we go. Linda, you're actually muted. There you go.
Okay. My name is Linda Crosby. The title of my book is The Day My Life Changed, an Accident Survivor. I take you on a journey before, during, and after a horrific accident that nearly took my life and left me with disabilities. And it speaks of the power of prayer. And it tells about how I face daily struggles and how I depend so greatly on my husband, who is my devoted caregiver. And it's just a good read, and you will not be disappointed. And it also tells you that I have bilateral carpal tunnel syndrome, which is permanent nerve damage to both of my hands, and how from the accident I became totally and permanently disabled too. And it is an easy read and a good read. And it is a labor of love straight from my heart to yours.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to have all of you here. And I also just realized that I didn't introduce myself at the start of the session. Hello, my name is Caitlin. I'm part of the Reader's Magnet team, and I'm the moderator for identifying and avoiding author scams. Now, raise your hand if you've been scammed in your life. Just not about books, about anything. Bought something, realized that, oh, this isn't what I ordered something online, Facebook Marketplace, and just went, oops, this isn't it. It's normal. Everyone has been fooled because unfortunately, the world right now, especially with everything online, sometimes you cannot verify certain things, and they're very good at presenting themselves as a legit business when in fact that they are not. So, our session today is going through the ways that you can identify scams, especially in the publishing industry, because you guys are in this industry and you guys are self published. That means that you manage your book, the marketing, and everything. So, identifying scams is really important for you guys to really protect yourselves. So, I've got 7 ways on how to identify scams, or kind of some signs where you can have your senses tingle and go, hey, maybe this isn't legit. So we'll go through them today. I'll quickly read through the 7 ways to identify scams, and I've also got 5 ways on how to avoid scams, and hopefully we can get through all of them today. So just a quick summary: 7 ways on how to identify scams. Sometimes the scammers will pretend to represent big traditional publishers. Scammers will also tend to use big name companies. They will offer no refund for undelivered services. They might guarantee huge book sales. They might give you outlandish discount offers with no basis. They manage different imprints. They charge for manuscript reviews. So we'll go through the first one. Pretending to represent traditional publishing. Who here has been called by someone who says, oh, I'm a literary agent? Has anyone experienced that? Oh, quite a few people. So 4 out of 9 people have been approached by literary agents. How was the experience, and were they a scam? How was the
I mean,
experience?
sometimes,
Absolutely.
go ahead, go ahead. I mean, sometimes they promise too much, but they don't do what they promise.
Yes,
And,
I
and
think that's a
sometimes
big one.
another thing, they are very good in trying to convince you that you should go to them. They are very good with their language. The language sounds so wonderful that if you don't know nothing about the publishing business, you might fall for it because they are very good. Another thing, they don't give up. They stay on the phone. Even if you say no, they try to convince you. They go on. They don't give up. They are very tough. They try to get you
Yeah,
money very hard. They try to get you money very hard. They don't give up. Because sometimes I say, I'm not going to pay that amount of money. I say, no, bro, look at it this way, blah, blah. They're very persistent.
yes, 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 definitely. I think because they have nothing to lose, so they keep going. They badger you. I think that's the word. They badger you, and so they're very very persistent. But how can you tell between a legit agent and one that's a scam, right?
Yeah, well, they try and sell you something that they try and sell you something that they tell you you need to get into the major publisher, but that's not really required to get into a major publisher. What you need to do is approach them yourself.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yep. Yeah, can I add
Linda,
a little bit to that?
yes, go ahead, Marcelo.
Yeah, so a lot of times also there's going to be some sort of shiny object. Hey, this person worked with blah blah blah, and it has been this national blah blah blah, and this attention blah blah blah, whatever. That it's kind of like try to bring some legitimacy, and it's almost like they almost make it sound like they're best buddies with that person, or that they are directly representing that person, when in reality they don't have that affiliation. So very important, particularly somebody is actually asking already right away for money, is asking right away for doing this thing now. Probably a good time to say like, okay, let me pump the brakes, do the proper research to find out that you are who you're meant to be. Because if it is too good to be true, often it is.
Thanks, Marcelo. And I completely agree. I think a very big red flag is when it's a they say a big name. I agree. When they dangle a shiny object and then they ask you to pay right away, and there's no understanding, right? They
I
just
think
go, want your money. Yes, Helen.
I think that what happens to the writer is that the traditional publishing houses, unfortunately, is difficult to get involved in. You got to write a query. You got to they have all these stipulations, and after trying them over and over again, you you want to get your book published, but you keep getting these rejections, and that you haven't done this, or you need to do this. So they make you vulnerable to those type of agencies, and so it's a two-way street. The traditional publishing company has to be available for you, and there has to be some avenue. And if you, for me, as an African American writer, getting into the white traditional mainstream is not something that's easy, because especially when you write specifically about your own culture and about things that make other those people uncomfortable.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you.
Well,
I think the
well,
second way as well.
I did
Sorry, yes, Linda.
I did some research on the traditional publisher, and now all of them want you to have a literary agent before they
Hmm.
will even think about looking
Yeah.
at your manuscript.
Right.
And so, with that being said, then you got all of these other people who are offering you these get rich quick scheme, and they expect for you to fall for them. And if you're not careful, and if you're too hungry to get your book out there, they will take advantage of you.
Mhm.
And my thing is, they always call me or email me about this book fair or that book fair, and they want to put my book in it because they have read my book and it will fit right in. But I have sense enough to know that all of those are just too good to be true.
Mhm.
And so I did a lot of research with self publishing because my first publishing company, they are a self publishing company as well. And with them, some of the things that should have been done was not done. So you just have to be careful all around. And I am just so thrilled to have found Reader's Magnet, or I should say Reader's Magnet found me. And I am truly happy with every aspect of Reader's Magnet. So you have to be very careful because if not, you will get scammed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. We're glad to have you here as well. And honestly, like it's something we face in the self-publishing industry. Unfortunately, there's a lot of other companies that do not fulfill their services as they promise. So that's why Reader's Magnet, it's one of our main goals to really give you the service that we promise, and just help you get the exposure that you're wanting. We've had some authors tell us as well about agents who call them and say that they will forward their manuscripts to production or movie houses. Has anyone experienced that, saying that it'll become a movie? Yes, that's right. We've got two people.
Yeah,
Reverend
I had
Manfred,
two companies say that crap.
yeah.
I had a fella call me up, and he was just really, and he said, he said, we've looked at your book and it's got great potential, great potential. And he said, this is how we do it. Let me tell you how we do it. I'll go through the process. And he's going through this process, and he says, now we'll write you a manuscript. Now he said the average manuscript for a book your size is about 150 pages. So we'll write you, a screenplay. And he said, then we will submit it to Universal, and we will submit it to the Disney entities, and we will submit it to all these fantastic places. And he said, now I've got to tell you, Mr. Lavery, he said, I got to tell you, it costs $30,000 to write a screenplay. But always the big, and wait, there's more. But he said, because we believe in your project, we're only going to charge you $20,000.
Oh, yes.
That's it.
Oh,
20,000. We're only going to charge you 20,000. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, if I give you $20,000, yeah, and you make me a screenplay and you submit it to all these entities that you've told me about, if nobody wants it, do I get my $20,000 back? And he said, well, you see, we're pretty sure somebody's going to want it. I said, no. I said, there's 20,000 good reasons why I don't want you. But I got stuff like that all the time, and I mean they talk fast. I don't know, man, we got this, and it's fantastic, and you're a shoe-in. You're a shoe-in. No.
yeah.
I had my first book converted to a screenplay, but it didn't cost me anything, and they did circulate it, and it was discussed. But what happened is it's so hard to convert a novel, particularly a paranormal novel, into a screenplay that basically it didn't fly with the people that were looking at it. But they actually did it for nothing.
Yeah, that's good. At least that was a true effort rather than a scam. I think, David, that one.
It
Because
was.
at least it didn't spell anything out. Yes.
But it's so hard to convert paranormal because things are happening inside the head and inside, and you can't show a lot of it visibly. And everything in a movie play has to be graphic. It has to be right out there in front of the audience.
Yes. We'll take a quick 1 minute break just to play. We have some ads, just so you guys can have a sip of water as well before we continue with the rest of the roundtable. So just a quick break. And we're back. All right. So we're going through different ways that you can identify scams. The next red flag is when someone offers no refunds for undelivered services. And the key word here is undelivered services. So I think it's really important when you're speaking to companies or agents, really looking through the terms of your contract and asking if your service was not fulfilled, what protects you, right? I think it's a big red flag if they say no refund straight from the top. Of course, it's different if it has been fulfilled and the service has been delivered, and then they say, okay, well, we can't give you a refund. So that makes sense. But if it's no fulfillment and no refund, has anyone heard that before?
No.
No, not so much. Yes, no.
Nope.
Nope, haven't heard that. All
No.
right, all right. So
No,
I think
I've heard that before.
you've heard that before.
Yep, I've heard that before. But my mom, when she was alive, she used to say something that was very poignant. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve; you get what you negotiate. So whenever we're going to be talking as far as like doing a business transaction, we have to be pragmatic. Of course, have the rapport, but we have to understand what is it that this business relationship is going to be, particularly the professionalism that is going to be coming on both parts. If there is some sort of red flags, it is going to be very easy sometimes to notice, because you're probably going to feel a little bit that, okay, what is actually going on. If you have that feeling, then it's a good idea always to say, okay, we can slow down and we can retake. If they don't want to retake, that is probably a good idea to say, okay, this relationship might not be so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And we've already discussed before that some of these on the phone calls, they'll try and overwhelm you, right? They'll try to not give you any space to talk, and they'll just be like, and they'll just keep asking, and they'll keep bombarding you with information. But what's important is for you to ask your own questions back, to really put them on the spot as well. What will happen if you don't deliver the services? What is your refund policy? Um, is there anything on your website talking about refunds? What about if my service isn't fulfilled, or how long will can I expect for my service to be fulfilled? Like, ask the questions. Don't let the people dominate the conversation. I think is also quite important, because you also need to feel secure in the service that you're purchasing. And I think that's really important. And I think you're right, Marcelo. If something is wrong, you'll feel it. So listen to that voice at the back of your head, because that's your instinct. You've gone through life, you've purchased not just publishing services, but you've just purchased things in your life, you know? And so with experience, you'll be able to like just have a feeling when something is not right. So I think that's definitely a good tip, Marcelo.
Thank you.
The next thing that we've heard a lot of authors as well is guaranteeing huge book sales from the get go. Sorry, Helen, can I just ask you to mute yourself? We can
Oh, I'm
kind of hear
sorry.
some
I'm
background
sorry.
noise. No worries. So, guaranteeing huge book sales from the get go. It's very, very attractive to just hear if it could, like, it's going to be number one on Amazon, it's going to be number one in New York Times. And like Reverend Michael was saying, they'll promise you things that might not necessarily be true. Has anyone heard this before?
No, I know something. Sometimes they say, we're going to send the book to these so many places. These so many places, but the book never sells anything. So sometimes I wonder where are those places where they send the book to,
Yeah.
because it doesn't sell anywhere. But they give you a list of places. Like, sure, it's going to be very good. So they will send it to the library, bookstore, this and that, and they give you a whole list. But after 7, 8 months, if the book sell more than 10 copies, it's a miracle. So I don't know what those places are that they said that they're going to send the book to.
hmm I think especially as indie authors, especially for authors who are new to the industry, guaranteeing huge book sales from the get go, it's never going to be guaranteed, because there's millions and millions of books in the market, and we have to be realistic as well. There are authors who will have those like one in a million chance, and suddenly they'll be famous on TikTok, famous on social media, and suddenly huge book sales. But that's not going to be for everyone. So if someone comes at you right away saying you'll have thousands and thousands of copies, actually, it's best to be cautious. Yes, Helen, you're still muted, by the way.
Okay. Well, what happened to me was, um, I had my book published, and they said, "Oh, we want to give you a TV ad so that you can really get your book out there for people to see it." And I'm waiting for the ad because they have the book trailer and everything. And come behold, I'm here in Seattle, in Washington State, and they're telling me that they um, viewed my ad in Portland, Oregon, and which meant that I never could get a chance to even see it. So you really have to be aware of what you want. If you just want your book published, so that you'll have a book in your hand to say I am published, that's one thing. But when they start advertising all these different things that they want to give you and that they're offering, they're trying to make money. It's all about money. Trust me. It's all about money. When the woman
Yeah.
told me one hardback copy would cost me $299, one book to get a
Wow.
hardback copy. I said, um,
Wow. So I
no.
think that like research as well is really important. And just looking through any evidence,
Hmm.
and asking for evidence as well throughout the different stages of the process. So asking for updates, or asking for even work in progress, just so you can see the work in progress that's happening before you get the final product. I think is also quite important. Um, and in the similar vein of research, um, something that's become a trend as well is one parent company will have different imprints, meaning it's the same company with different websites and different names, because they're trying to like catch as many people as they can. So if you're receiving a call from someone and you say you're not interested, another company will call you with almost the exact same pitch and the exact same script or wording. And when you go to their website, it's the same layout. Aha, that's a red flag as well, because they're just trying to get as many people as they can. So it's the same offer but with a different brand name. Has anyone experienced that? Yes, I see some heads nodding. Yes, Marcelo and David, you've experienced it.
Oh yeah.
How did you
Actually, yeah, I
tell?
had a phone call like probably 10, 20 minutes before the session actually.
Wow,
Yeah, and it
that's
was kind of like the
amazing.
same thing, yeah, because you can actually look at the numbers and you can actually see, who's the same person, and then uh do some of the due diligence, whatever you're doing for that. The way that I see it, is if somebody's actually giving you a phone call, it's just like if they're doing a job interview because they want to create a business relationship with you. Okay,
Yep.
not, I cannot even begin to tell you how many people actually call me and they don't even know what the book is about. They say, okay, if you want me to be in some sort of relationship and you have no idea what I'm actually talking about in my book, then you might want to do that first, and then maybe we'll talk.
That's right.
Well,
I think
sometimes the companies move legitimately, and like the first book that I published was through a place that basically did get acquired by somebody else. So it's not always a scam necessarily. It may be that there's a legitimate reason that the names kind of shift around and the
mhm,
thing goes with them. But I think a real telltale is, do they have a way to pay you, and are you getting paid? If your book comes out, number one. And number two,
that's
do they
right.
really show you how it's going to be marketed such that it's actually on sale and that you can see what the sales are? Because if you're not interested in your end on the money, why are you giving them money?
That's right. That's right. That really adds to the legitimacy, David. I agree. And I think like, sorry, you just have to be careful as well, because if they're like, as we spoke about, like if they're calling you and they're trying to be really quick about it and not giving you any details, that's the issue, right? If you're asking about payment plans, how are you going to get your royalties, and they don't tell you anything, ah, that's a red flag, right?
Yes.
If you're asking them about fulfillment plans and schedules, and they don't tell you anything, ah, that's another red flag. So I think it's, you have to be really proactive in listening and really identifying for yourself. I think it's really, really important, especially with different imprints. Yes, yes, Helen, you're on mute.
Okay, one thing they'll tell you is that, oh, you have to have 20 books sold, or you have to have a certain amount, or we don't um, give you royalties unless you make, say, $50 or $60 um, of royalties. But if you make under that, then they keep them and keep it rolling on. So, yes, you have to be very careful about the language and how it is presented to you.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Another way that people can scam as well, and we've actually had some authors speak to us about this is they charge for manuscript reviews. So just reviewing a manuscript and reading, they ask you to pay upfront just for someone to read your manuscript. So this actually came from the Authors Guild. So they've actually reiterated that legitimate publishers and agents don't charge a fee to review your manuscript. So if someone is asking you to pay money upfront without any proof or any plan, just like that, you have to be really careful with things like that. So those are the ways that you can potentially identify scams. I think we've definitely spoken about a lot of the behaviors as well, like badgering you with information or just calling you again and again, things like that. So those are some of the behaviors as well where you kind of raise a red flag and go, "Oh, that doesn't feel right." So what are the ways that you can proactively then prevent scams? So I'm thinking of looking for reviews. Has anyone heard of Trustpilot?
No.
Trustpilot. So Trustpilot is actually it's an
Yes.
online site where people write reviews. So it's all legitimate reviews. And like
It's a
every
great company.
company gets a rating. Yes, that's right.
If what?
Every company gets a rating out of 5 stars on their services or the customer experience and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So that's what Trustpilot is. So looking for reviews of a company, I'm sure when you first heard of Reader's Magnet, you probably went online to Google, typed it in. What's Reader's Magnet? Where are they based? What do they do? And so things like Trustpilot or Yelp. Yelp is another one, or Google reviews is another one. So reading that is really important. But and then I've had some people come up to me and be like, "Well, this company had a 5 star review, but I was still scammed. Why? Only one review." So sometimes it's not the quality, the actual score of the review. Sometimes you have to look at quantity of review as well. Only 2 reviews, and if you look at the
And it's a
names and the language, oh, they seem like they were written by the same person. Go, Linda.
Yeah, can I
and
add
it's a
something to
good
that?
thing
Yes, go
too
ahead.
to
Yeah.
read.
To
Yep.
read. Yes,
Go
Linda.
ahead. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Stella.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, a lot of times, you can actually see in some of the reviews, there's going to be kind of like they're just going to be looking really generic, So it's going to be it's very different when a person actually writes something that is from the heart, because there's going to be maybe a little bit of emotion, maybe even a little bit of a typo, like a grammar thing, but it's going to be more authentic that if it is something that it's written to try to create a facade that is not real. So it's also very important to see some of those reviews, particularly those high reviews, but also sometimes it's really good to see those low reviews, because sometimes it's the same thing, because it could be another entity that's actually trying to disparage a company. So just wanted to mention that.
That's a good point. There's something called review bombing, where you spam 1 star reviews, 1 star reviews, 1 star reviews, and it says the same thing again and again. And there was an author recently who was a victim of that, and I just don't want to name names because I'm not too sure about the name. But it was from a traditional publisher, and their book was spammed with 1 star reviews, but it all came from the same person. Because and another way that you can tell is when you click on the review and the profile of the person, and the profile of the person is either completely empty or they're only connected with other kind of shady accounts. So yes, reviews is a really good way to tell if something is legit or not, but it doesn't stop there. Sometimes you need to really you need to do a little bit more research onto the reviews, especially if it's the same thing again and again, like Marcelo said, if it's generic, or if the author profile was just created yesterday, 2 days ago, or if only has one review on the profile rather than multiple reviews on different products and different books and things like that. So
Another thing that I want to say something. You have to be careful about reviews because sometimes some people might give you 1 or 2 stars, not because the book is bad, because they don't like what the book is
Yeah.
saying. So
Yes.
that's be careful about that because sometimes with my poetry, I mean, a book had to be very bad to receive 1 star. Because if a book received 1 star, that wasn't a book. The person that wrote the book didn't know what it was doing. No book should be able to receive 1 star. Maybe unless it was written by somebody that doesn't know how to read or write. At least 2 or 3 stars, but 1 star. That because the person didn't like what the book was saying, and they give 1 star. No book for a legitimate writer is worth 1 star. That's the lowest of the lowest. That's like getting zero when you take a
Yes.
test or exam.
May I ask Linda a question? Linda, what is it about
Yes.
Reader's Magnet? What is it about Reader's Magnet that you really like? Tell me.
Me?
No,
I
I'm talking
love
to Linda.
Oh,
Reader's Ma-
All right, I'm
I
listening.
love Reader's Magnet. Can you hear me?
I can
Yes,
hear you,
Helen,
sweetheart.
ma'am.
Talk
can you
to
hear
me.
me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, talk
I
to me.
love Reader's Magnet because they are a wonderful company and they accept me with open arms, even though they know that I have to use a speech to write program
Mm-hmm.
and with the help of my husband to write my manuscript. They did not um, discriminate against me in any way because of that. Because, like I said at the beginning, I have bilateral carpal tunnel syndrome, which is permanent nerve damage to both of my hands, and they are very patient. And my author relation officer, I couldn't have asked for a better and more understanding person. And
See that?
Bob Marquez, uh, he is just wonderful. So I am
Thank
well
you.
pleased with Reader's Magnet. They have welcomed me with open and loving arms.
See
And
We
that?
they
welcome
don't
you.
discriminate against because of my
Thank you.
disabilities,
That's what I
because
want to
I
hear.
am totally and permanently disabled as well.
Wow, that is.
And my author relations officer is Sam Deapana, and she is just
Yeah,
one
she is.
amazing young lady.
She is. She is. This is.
Thank
And
you. Thank
everyone
you.
else that I have come in contact with
Uh
are
huh.
just amazing people. And
See,
I
I know
am
the questions
very
to ask.
well pleased with my decision.
All right, I hear you. That's what. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
And just
welcome, Helen. You're welcome.
I'm telling you. Yes, that's what you want to hear because everyone is not bad.
Yeah,
Everyone is not trying to get over on you. Like the guy said when he
right.
did
They're
his
top
tarot card.
notch.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes
Yes,
they
Thank you.
help you,
absolutely.
but they can help you
Thank
only
you.
so far as they have the power to help you. But when you hear at least
Yes,
one that you're working with, and you get a good report, you realize that you do have an avenue, and that
Yes.
not to
Yes.
give up.
yes,
Right. Period.
Yes.
I know
yes.
the question to ask.
You do,
What
Thank you.
Helen. And that was
Helen.
Yeah,
a
I
great
love
one.
sound
Thank
too.
you.
I love sound too.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, Sam, that's my girl. That's my girl. And Bob Marquez,
I don't
that's
know
my
him.
guy.
I just know Sam.
Oh,
I
okay,
I'm sure
okay.
they're watching. Thanks for the shout out. And like Reader's Magnet, we really try our best to make you guys feel safe with your decision. Like I don't know if any, I think some of you definitely have had book fairs with us before. We send fulfillment reports, we give you pictures, we show you exactly where your book was. We do live sessions when we're at the book fairs. So you authors who are not physically there, know that we are actually there, because that's one of the big scams as well. They tell you they're at a book fair and they're not there. But
Right.
with us, Readers Magnet, we make sure to really let you know that we are there and we are showing your book and telling your story to the world, which is really what we're here for. Just trying to give you the exposure that you're expecting. And just like coming from that, that's why we're actually accredited with the Better Business Bureau, and we're a member of the Independent Book Publishers Association as well. So that's one of the ways that you can see if a company is legit as well, if they have any memberships, if they have any accreditations as well. So just some of the organizations that accredit credit these publishers. There's Better Business Bureau. There's Independent Book Publishers Association. There's the Alliance of Independent Authors. So these companies rate, review, and compare self-publishing companies to help authors really identify which are scams and which are reliable. So looking for accreditations like that, and asking about any accreditations might potentially help you as well. Because
What I
yes,
like is that I've written a lot and I've gotten 5 stars and I have a good editor and everything like that. But marketing is my absolute. I'm not a marketer, and Reader's Digest manages to handle the marketing of it about as well as anybody that I've ever run across. And
Thank
that's
you.
where as an author I just
Reader's
have
Digest
to
or
follow
Reader's Magnet?
Reader's
Reader's
Magnet. Excuse me.
All
Yeah,
right.
I just
I
have
know we get to talk about that sometimes as well. Reader's Magnet.
I absolutely fall flat on my face when it comes to trying to market.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah, we need to hear some good news. Not all bad. From
not all
somewhere.
bad. That's right.
Yes,
But
they're great
it's
for self-publishing and marketing. And
Thank
I
you.
have used them for both and am using them for both.
That's good. I think that you're correct because when I launched mine in Germany, my writing friends were astounded. They were just amazed at how they created the social media package and how beautiful it looked. Yeah,
Hmm.
you're right. So
Yes.
we want to know it all, the complete story.
that's right. That's right.
Top notch.
And just
Read
Top,
magnet, top notch.
as well, seeing the fulfillment
Top notch.
reports and seeing like the packages and what you guys actually paid for is really important for you guys,
it
because
is.
that's as indie authors,
Hmm.
like, yes, we might have to do a little bit more work in getting the word out there, but you want to make that work count.
Yes.
You don't want to do the work and have nothing to show for it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's gone.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So the next thing as well is there's actually websites that publish lists of known scams. So I don't know if you've heard, but the Author Guild actually has a list of known scams, and they have traditional publishers that reach out to them and tell them, "Oh, be careful, this scam is going around right now." So the Author Guild. The next one as well is the Better Business Bureau has a list of scams reported to them, not just publishing companies or self-publishing companies, but all companies. So if you do Google, like a Google search of list of scams, or like look for these lists from these organizations, that could actually help you as well, especially if you're not too sure about something, haven't heard about this company name before. Um, Definitely have a look at the Better Business Bureau scam list or the Author Guild scam list. Yeah. And coming from that as well, asking for referrals, if possible, would also be a really good way. Like this, because now you know other authors from Reader's Magnet, from the roundtable sessions like this, right? So you're seeing other people who are availing of the same services as you.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to talk to each other offline, you know what? You guys are authors. If you want to speak about your experience, we'd welcome you to. But if the company blocks you right away and goes, "No, we don't have any authors that are available to speak to you. They're all busy." Oh, no other authors? what type of service are you actually selling to me?
Yes.
So asking for referrals is a good way to also tell if a company is legit. Who do you have a client who's willing to speak to me? Um,
Yeah. About
you
your
know,
identity. Yeah.
yeah, just to see if
Yeah.
you're authentic. That could be another good way of looking at that.
Yeah. This has been an interesting discussion for me.
I hope you guys
Yes,
have
it
learned
has.
something. Yes, yes. And the last tip I have for you as well is when you're looking at communication, and this isn't just for self-publishing scams, but for all scams, especially when you receive emails, have a look at the email domain, blah 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 blah, blah at,
Mhm.
and then it's randomletters.com. Or
Mhm.
there was one going around recently where I think it's I'm not too sure, but a traditional publisher, I think it was Macmillan.
Uh-huh.
So letter M, instead of having it as letter M, it was letter R and letter N. So when you look at it really quickly, it looks like Macmillan, but it was actually RN Illan. So having a look at communications like that and
Thank
checking
you.
like number codes or checking email addresses is really important if you receive anything like email communication or texts, because that's how you know that it's not legit. Like
Ah.
if you have an email, click and drag and highlight it so it turns blue and white, because sometimes like then you can see the characters a little bit more clearly. So things like that,
Say that
I think,
again.
just little tips and tricks on how to see that. Or if a phone number is calling you from somewhere in the middle of Europe, somewhere in the middle of Africa, Asia, not in the US, oh, you're like, why is this number calling me? So just stuff
Say
like
that
that.
about the highlighting again, Caitlin, please.
Yeah. So if you have an email,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to highlight the email address, because then
Mm-hmm.
like the thing I was saying, instead of a letter M, it was a letter RN. Once you highlight that, you can actually see it a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, because I did get
Oh,
one
okay.
from Macmillan. I
Thank
got one
you.
from Macmillan here recently. So I'm sure checking it out. So I didn't give him any information, but I
Yeah,
couldn't see it. Yeah, we want to publish your book. What book? Which book are you talking about? I
very
didn't,
generic, right?
yeah, which book are you talking about? Your project. Which project are you saying? And gave me the address and everything. But I'm sure going. This is a good day for me. Yes, I
That's
will
right.
definitely be reviewing
Great
that
day.
closer. Yeah, I
So,
said, oh,
Caitlin, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I need to back out. Reader's Magnet is keep trying to reach me, um, so I think I need to call them back. I have a session at
Okay.
7.
We've
And
actually extended as well. We're actually just about finished.
yeah, we
okay,
are.
So
Yeah,
don't
well,
worry.
I'll
I
call.
enjoyed myself.
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you,
talk to y'all
everyone.
Me
later.
too, Alan. Me
All
too.
right,
I
bye.
hope you
We
learned
must talk
something.
again, Linda. You and
I
I.
know.
Absolutely. God bless y'all.
God bless you too. Take care. Take care.
Just to
You too.
summarize,
All of y'all do the same. Bye.
oh, we've had some people leave now.
Wait a
But
minute, wait a
yeah,
minute. We're
that's
not done.
our session. And I hope that you
Thank
guys
you.
learned
Karen.
something. And thank you so much as well for being here and participating. We really appreciate it. And like for
You're
all of us,
welcome.
be
Yeah.
wary, but also be open, because you never know. There are good eggs and bad eggs, but we can't discount the good eggs just because there are bad eggs.
True. True.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you've learned something from this session. And we hope to
Very
see you at
much.
the sessions of Reader's Magnet. We have a few more roundtables and a few more Author of the Hour sessions as well, all the way until February 4th, I think it is.
Thank you, Caitlin.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time. We really appreciated you having you here at the session.
Bye, Caitlin. Thank you.
Bye, Caitlin.
Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.